Thank you. And I've actually been on 3 presidential campaigns just this cycle alone. So this is post-Clinton era and the Podesta emails and that breach in 2016. So all of the campaigns that I was on in this particular election cycle really took this very seriously. They had different levels of preparation, and that was because of how they were resourced. The very first one was Howard Schultz, and as you know, the campaign itself never got off the ground, but there was a big infrastructure in place, about 125 staff, and we had a full security unit and a head of security who from the very beginning in late 2018 and early 2019 was setting up a system so that every single member of that staff was trained. And we went through a number of tests. And in fact, we had to do several hours of training. And in the tests, we could see who failed the tests. And I can give one example, in fact, of when we were sent a fake phishing email from this system that tested. And it said, you need to change your password now. And all 13 members of the communications team failed that test, but the rest of the campaign actually passed. So you were able to see where the breakdowns were, and specific teams were told that they had to go through another round of training. Mm-hmm. In between Howard Schultz and Michael Bloomberg, where I just finished, I worked for John Hickenlooper, and that campaign was not as well resourced. In that particular campaign, we were using our own computers, where with Schultz and Bloomberg, we were given campaign-issued computers that had a lot of extra security protocols in place. With Hickenlooper, we did have two-factor authentication, as you've been talking about on this presentation today, but it was not as secure as the other two. We didn't have a breach, so far as I know, as long as I was on the campaign, which was only for a couple of months toward the end. But it wasn't the same level, and that's why those resources are important, and training staff is important. I know that there are several efforts in place at a national level to train campaigns, but I also have been working with an organization called US Cyberdome, which is actually building security for hardware and software systems that's similar to big corporations, so that they can secure campaigns from the inside. On the Bloomberg campaign, I don't believe that we had any breach that ever made it through a system, because there was such a large security team in place. I'm sure there were attempts, but nothing was ever breached as far as I know.